Dr. Ethan Lee adjusted his tie for the umpteenth time, glancing at his reflection in the mirror of his modest apartment. Tonight was the night the Global Scientific Summit, where the brightest minds from around the world would convene to unveil breakthroughs that could redefine humanity. As a leading geneticist, Ethan had poured years into perfecting the gene editing technology that promised to elevate human capabilities beyond imagination. Yet, beneath his composed exterior, a storm of anxiety brewed. This presentation wasn't just another lecture, it was the culmination of his life's work and, unbeknownst to him, the harbinger of a global revolution. The conference hall buzzed with anticipation as delegates, scientists, and media representatives filled the grand auditorium. Ethan took his place backstage, his heart pounding in rhythm with the hum of excitement around him. The keynote address was slated to feature groundbreaking advancements in genetic modifications, with Ethan's spider gene modification being the centerpiece. Minutes felt like hours until the lights dimmed, and the spotlight focused on the stage. A hush fell over the audience as the summit's moderator stepped up to the podium, introducing Ethan with a flourish. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ethan Lee, the visionary behind the spider gene technology." Ethan approached the podium, a mixture of nerves and pride coursing through him. He began his presentation with a light-hearted anecdote about his childhood fascination with spiders, weaving humor into his scientific discourse. The audience chuckled, warming to his engaging style. Charts and videos illuminated the screen behind him, showcasing the transformative potential of the spider gene: enhanced agility, superior strength, and a sixth sense for danger, emulating the remarkable abilities of spiders. "As you can see," Ethan explained, pointing to a demonstration video, "the spider gene doesn't just augment physical capabilities. It redefines human potential, offering unprecedented advantages in various fields from emergency response to space exploration." The room was captivated, nods of approval and murmurs of excitement rippled through the crowd. Sensing the momentum, Ethan took a daring step. "To demonstrate the immediate effects of the spider gene, I will volunteer myself as the first human test subject." Gasps and whispers filled the hall, cameras zoomed in, and social media feeds began to buzz in real time. Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, sleek device, the gene editing tool he had meticulously developed. "With your permission, I'll activate the spider gene right here, right now." Before anyone could react, he pressed the button. A series of precise, automated procedures commenced, visible through the glass enclosure beside the stage. The audience watched in awe as Ethan's transformation began. His limbs elongated slightly, muscles tensed, and his skin took on a subtle, web-like pattern. At first, the changes seemed controlled, even elegant. But then, unpredictability took hold. Ethan's excitement morphed into panic as his body responded erratically. His arms stretched unnaturally, fingers elongating into slender, almost spindly appendages. From his wrists, thin strands of webbing began to emanate, flinging across the stage with alarming speed. The podium was ensnared in sticky threads, the projector halted as cables were tangled in the webs, and a few startled scientists found themselves momentarily immobilized. The audience erupted into chaos. Some laughed incredulously, others gasped in fear. Ethan struggled to regain control, his voice a strained mixture of humor and desperation. Seems like we have a bit more enthusiasm than anticipated." Media outlets quickly seized the moment, dubbing it Ethan's Spider-Man moment. Memes flooded social platforms, portraying Ethan as a real-life superhero gone awry. Yet, beneath the humor, a profound shift was underway. The spectacle ignited a global fascination with genetic modifications, especially the spider gene. People clamored for their own enhancements, driven by the allure of newfound powers and the promise of a superior existence. In the weeks that followed, the spider gene underwent rapid commercialization. Governments, private companies, and even rogue organizations scrambled to implement the technology, offering incentives for those willing to undergo the modification. Ethan found himself thrust into the spotlight, hailed as a pioneer and, inadvertently, a catalyst for a genetic revolution. despite the widespread enthusiasm, Ethan couldn't shake an unsettling feeling. Reports began to surface of individuals experiencing unexpected side effects, heightened aggression, obsessive behaviors related to web construction, and accelerated aging. Initially dismissed as isolated incidents, the cases grew in number and severity, painting a grim picture of the gene's true impact. Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan delved into the data from his initial trials. Late nights in his lab became routine as he meticulously analyzed the genetic sequences and patient reports. What he discovered was chilling: the spider gene, while granting remarkable abilities, carried a latent flaw. The genetic modifications triggered a cascade of cellular changes that accelerated the aging process and disrupted neural pathways, leading to cognitive decline and violent tendencies. Worse still, the gene exhibited a contagious trait. Those who interacted closely with modified individuals began to exhibit symptoms, suggesting a form of genetic contagion previously unknown to science. Panic began to ripple through communities as the implications of Ethan's creation became horrifyingly clear. As Ethan grappled with these revelations, he faced opposition from powerful corporations invested in the gene's widespread adoption. Their interests lay in profit and control, indifferent to the looming disaster. Attempts to warn the public were met with skepticism, ridicule, and outright hostility. The once celebrated scientist found himself ostracized, his warnings dismissed as fear-mongering. Refusing to abandon his responsibility, Ethan knew he had to act swiftly to prevent a global catastrophe. He began to assemble a team of trusted colleagues and former allies, those who still believed in his vision and recognized the perilous path they were on. Together, they formulated a plan to expose the truth and halt the gene's proliferation. However, time was not on their side. As the modified population swelled, so did the instability. Communities became fractured, with unmodified individuals fearing and ostracizing those altered by the spider gene. The social fabric began to unravel, setting the stage for a conflict that threatened to consume society. Ethan's journey had transformed from one of scientific discovery to a desperate fight for survival and redemption. The spider web era, once heralded as the dawn of a new age, now stood on the brink of becoming a dystopian nightmare. With the clock ticking and the world teetering on the edge, Ethan vowed to uncover the depths of the conspiracy and find a way to reverse the genetic tide before it was too late. Ethan's mind raced as he and his team huddled in the dimly lit backroom of a rundown cafe on the outskirts of the city. The air was thick with tension and the faint hum of distant traffic, a constant reminder of the chaos unfolding outside. He glanced around at his makeshift team: Dr. Maya Chen, a brilliant geneticist who had once worked alongside him, Jake Ramirez, a former military operative with a knack for strategy and combat, and Lila Thompson, a tech-savvy hacker who could navigate the darkest corners of the digital world with ease. Each of them bore the weight of the mission ahead, their faces etched with determination and fear. "We need to move quickly," Ethan began, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. "The longer the spider gene spreads, the harder it will be to contain. We have to find the source of the contagion and stop it before it becomes irreversible." Maya nodded, her eyes focused on the holographic display flickering in front of her. "I've been analyzing the genetic data, and it seems the contagion is spreading through direct contact and airborne particles. It's more resilient than we initially thought." Jake leaned forward, his expression serious. "We need to hit them where it hurts. If we can take down their research facilities, we might be able to halt the production and distribution of the spider gene." Lila tapped away at her portable terminal, pulling up security feeds and corporate databases. "I've managed to breach the main server of Genetics Corporation. They have multiple facilities worldwide, but the central hub is heavily guarded. We'll need a solid plan to infiltrate without raising alarms." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "Our first target should be the West Coast facility. It's less fortified than the others and holds a significant portion of their research. If we can secure the data from there, we might find a way to reverse the gene." Maya frowned, considering the implications. "But what about the modified individuals already out there? If we disrupt their operations, we could endanger countless lives. Jake placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We'll handle that as best we can. Our priority is to stop the spread. We can't let fear paralyze us. Lila looked up from her terminal, a spark of determination in her eyes. I can create a diversion by hacking into their security systems. It'll give us a window to get in and out without being detected. Ethan nodded, appreciating her resourcefulness. Good. Maya, gather all the data you can on their genetic modifications. Jake, start planning our route and contingencies. Lila, work on the diversion and any additional intel you can pull. We'll meet back here in 2 hours to finalize the plan. As his team dispersed to carry out their tasks, Ethan felt a surge of hope. They were taking the first steps towards stopping the catastrophe he had inadvertently unleashed. But he couldn't shake the nagging fear that time was running out. 2 hours later, the team reconvened, each member bringing crucial information to the table. Maya had unearthed detailed schematics of the West Coast facility, revealing the layout of the laboratories and security measures. Jake had mapped out the safest routes, identifying potential obstacles and escape points. Lila had successfully infiltrated their network, providing real-time updates on security patrols and creating a temporary blackout in the surveillance systems to mask their movements. We're all set, Jake announced, his eyes scanning the plans spread out before him. Lila's blackout should give us a 30-minute window to get inside and gather the data we need. Ethan took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. Remember, our main objective is to secure the genetic data and any information on the contagion. We need to find a way to reverse the gene before it spreads any further. Maya added, once we have the data, we can work on developing an antidote. It won't be easy, but it's our best shot at saving humanity. With their plan in place, the team set out under the cover of darkness, moving swiftly through the abandoned streets to avoid detection. The West Coast facility loomed in the distance, its imposing structure a testament to Genetics Corp's ambition and power. As they approached the perimeter, Jake signaled for silence, and they slipped into the shadows, using the cover of night to their advantage. Lila's diversion worked flawlessly. The blackout plunged the facility into darkness, and alarms blared as the security systems struggled to compensate. Taking advantage of the chaos, the team infiltrated the compound, moving with precision and caution. Ethan felt his heart pounding in his chest, each step bringing them closer to their goal and deeper into danger. Inside the facility, the air was sterile and cold, the hum of machinery echoing through the vast corridors. They navigated the labyrinthine layout with Maya leading the way, her knowledge of genetic research proving invaluable. As they reached the central laboratory, Ethan's eyes widened at the sight before them: rows of advanced genetic equipment, samples of modified DNA, and the key data repositories they had come to find. Jake took point, keeping watch for any signs of movement. We need to move quickly. The blackout won't last forever. Maya began downloading the data, her fingers flying over the interface with practiced ease. I've found what we need. It includes the master code for the spider gene and details on the contagion's mechanism. Just as she completed the transfer, the facility's emergency lights flickered back on, and the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway. We've got company, Jake whispered, drawing his weapon. The team sprang into action, moving to cover as security personnel rushed towards their location. A firefight ensued, with Ethan using his enhanced agility to dodge incoming fire and take down opponents with precision. Lila provided cover by manipulating the facility systems, creating barriers and disabling security drones to give her team the upper hand. Maya secured the data drive, and with Jake and Lila covering their escape, they made a swift exit, weaving through the corridors and evading capture. As they burst out into the night air, the facility behind them erupted into chaos, alarms blaring and lights flashing as they made their way to the extraction point. Back at the safe house, the team debriefed, adrenaline still coursing through their veins. We did it, Lila said, a hint of exhaustion in her voice. We have the data. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and urgency. Now we need to analyze it and start working on the antidote. But we can't stop here. There are more facilities, more data to secure. Maya agreed, her eyes determined. I'll start the analysis immediately. With this information, we can begin to understand the contagion and how to reverse it. But we'll need more resources and support if we're going to make any real progress. Jake looked thoughtful. We might need to reach out to other scientists and researchers who were part of the original team. There could be others who want to help stop this. Lila chimed in, and I'll continue to hack into their systems, gather more intel, and keep us one step ahead of their security forces. Ethan felt a surge of determination. We're not just fighting against Genetics Corporation, we're fighting for the future of humanity. We can't afford to fail. Days turned into weeks as the team worked tirelessly, analyzing the genetic data and experimenting with potential antidotes. The situation outside grew increasingly dire, with reports of modified individuals becoming more erratic and violent. Communities were fracturing, trust eroding as fear and paranoia took hold. One evening, as Ethan pored over the latest research, Maya approached him with a breakthrough. I've found a potential solution. There's a specific sequence in the spider gene that, if altered correctly, could neutralize the contagion and stabilize the genetic modifications. Ethan's eyes lit up with hope. That's incredible. Can we synthesize it? Maya nodded. It's a complex process, but with the right equipment and resources, we can develop a viable antidote. We just need to test it. Jake looked up from his strategic maps. If we can distribute the antidote effectively, we might be able to save those who have already been modified and prevent further spread. But we'll need a secure way to manufacture and disseminate it without Genetics Corporation intercepting us. Lila tapped away at her terminal, her fingers moving with practiced speed. I've been working on a decentralized network that can distribute the antidote anonymously. It should allow us to reach as many people as possible without being traced back to us. Ethan felt a renewed sense of purpose. Let's get to work. This could be our chance to make things right. As the team delved deeper into their mission, they encountered numerous obstacles. Genetics Corporation intensified their efforts to eliminate the rebels, deploying advanced security measures and modified individuals to hunt them down. The streets became battlegrounds, with clashes erupting between the modified and those resisting the gene's influence. One night, while working late in the lab, Ethan received a coded message from an anonymous source. It was a set of coordinates and a time, along with a cryptic note: meet at the old subway station. They know you have the antidote. Realizing the potential danger, Ethan shared the message with his team. We need to be cautious. This could be a trap, but it might also be an opportunity to gain more allies. Jake agreed. We'll approach with caution. If there are others out there who want to help, we need to find them. The team prepared for the meeting, arming themselves and ensuring they had backup plans in place. As the designated time approached, they made their way to the old subway station, a relic of a bygone era now repurposed as a clandestine meeting point for those resisting Genetics Corporation. The station was shrouded in darkness, the flickering lights casting long shadows on the graffiti-covered walls. Ethan's heart pounded as they navigated the narrow tunnels, every step echoing ominously. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman clad in tactical gear, her eyes sharp and wary. I'm Alex, she introduced herself, her voice low and steady. I've been following your progress. We can help each other. Ethan assessed her cautiously. How do we know we can trust you? Alex raised her hands in a gesture of peace. Because we share the same goal. Genetics Corporation isn't the only threat. There are factions within their organization pushing for even more dangerous modifications, aiming to create a superhuman army under their control. Maya stepped forward, her curiosity piqued. What can you offer us? Alex's expression softened. We have access to additional resources, safe houses, and contacts who can help distribute the antidote more effectively. Together, we can amplify our efforts and take down Genetics Corporation from the inside. Ethan felt a surge of optimism. If we join forces, we stand a better chance of succeeding. But we'll need to integrate our operations and share information seamlessly. Alex nodded. I've already set up secure communication channels. Let's get started. Over the next few weeks, the combined forces of Ethan's team and Alex's group made significant progress. They developed the antidote, conducting trials and refining the formula to ensure its efficacy. The distribution network expanded, reaching communities across the globe and providing hope to those affected by the spider gene. However, Genetics Corporation was not idle. They launched a relentless campaign to discredit the rebels, branding them as terrorists and spreading misinformation to sow doubt and fear. Modified individuals were used as enforcers, their enhanced abilities making them formidable adversaries. The battle lines were drawn, and the struggle for humanity's future intensified. One pivotal night, as the team prepared to deploy the antidote to a heavily affected city, they received intelligence about a major genetics facility poised to release a new, more potent version of the spider gene. This upgrade was designed to bypass existing defenses and ensure the gene's uncontrollable spread, solidifying Genetics' dominance. Ethan knew that stopping this release was crucial. If they succeed, it won't just be a localized disaster, we could be looking at a global crisis. We need to strike now. Maya looked at the data. The facility is fortified, but with our combined resources, we can breach their defenses. We'll need a coordinated assault. Jake, you'll lead the tactical team. Lila and I will handle the technical aspects, and Alex, your team can provide support on the ground. Jake nodded, his resolve unwavering. We're ready. Let's end this once and for all. As dawn broke over the horizon, the teams converged on the Genetics facility, the air thick with anticipation and tension. The assault was swift and decisive, with each member playing their part to perfection. Ethan's enhanced abilities allowed him to navigate the complex with agility, disabling security systems and neutralizing threats with precision. Inside the heart of the facility, they found the central control room, where the final stage of the gene release was underway. Massive vats contained the advanced spider gene samples, pulsating with energy as the modification process accelerated. Ethan approached the main console, his hands steady as he began the shutdown sequence. Almost there, Maya encouraged, her focus unwavering as she assisted with the technical override. Suddenly, alarms blared, and the room filled with the sound of heavy footsteps. Genetics' head scientist, Dr. Victoria Hahn, entered, her presence commanding and ominous. You think you can stop progress? Humanity's evolution is inevitable. The spider gene is just the beginning. Ethan met her gaze, his voice firm. Not if we have anything to say about it. You're risking countless lives for your vision of superiority. Dr. Hahn smiled coldly. You're naive, Ethan. Evolution isn't about preserving what we have, it's about transcending it. The spider gene will usher in a new era, one where humans are no longer bound by their limitations. As she spoke, she activated a remote terminal, initiating the final phase of the gene release. The vats began to glow brighter, the modification process reaching a critical point. Ethan's fingers flew over the console, desperately trying to complete the shutdown before it was too late. You can't do this, he insisted, his determination unwavering. Dr. Hahn's expression hardened. Watch me. With a final surge of effort, Ethan entered the shutdown code, overriding the system's defenses. The vats began to deactivate, the pulsating energy dimming as the gene release was halted. Alarms ceased, and the room fell silent, save for the heavy breaths of the two scientists locked in a battle of wills. You may have won this round, Ethan, Dr. Hahn conceded, her eyes narrowing. But the spider web era has already begun. There are others out there who will continue my work. Ethan stood his ground, unwavering. As long as I live, I'll fight to protect humanity from the consequences of unchecked ambition. With the final shutdown complete, the team quickly exited the facility, ensuring that no remnants of the gene release remained. Outside, the first rays of sunlight broke through the darkness, symbolizing a new beginning and the promise of hope. As they regrouped at the safe house, the weight of their victory settled in. They had successfully stopped the immediate threat, but the battle was far from over. Genetics Corporation was in disarray, their plans thwarted, but remnants of their operation still posed a danger. Maya turned to Ethan, her eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and determination. "We've made significant progress, but there's still so much to do. The antidote is out there, but we need to ensure it's distributed effectively and safely." Jake nodded, his expression resolute. "We'll continue to push forward, dismantle their remaining operations, and protect those who need it most." Lila added, "And I'll keep working on securing our communications and expanding our network. We can't afford any more surprises." Ethan felt a profound sense of purpose. "We've come so far, but the journey ahead is still challenging. We need to stay united and focused on our mission. Humanity's future depends on it." As the team prepared for the next phase of their mission, Ethan couldn't help but reflect on the path that had led them here. What began as a groundbreaking scientific endeavor had spiraled into a battle for survival, testing their resolve and forcing them to confront the ethical implications of their work. Yet, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a flicker of hope remained, a belief that they could make a difference and steer humanity back from the brink. In the following months, the team's efforts bore fruit. The antidote was refined and distributed to key regions, stabilizing the modified individuals and curbing the spread of the contagion. Communities began to heal, trust slowly rebuilding as the reality of the spider web era's consequences became undeniable. Genetics Corporation, now exposed and discredited, faced global scrutiny. Legal actions and public outcry forced the company's hands, leading to the shutdown of their operations and the arrest of key figures involved in the gene modification project. The world began to grapple with the lessons learned from the ordeal, sparking debates on the ethical boundaries of genetic engineering and the responsibilities of scientists. Ethan continued his work, dedicated to ensuring that such a catastrophe would never occur again. He collaborated with international organizations to establish guidelines and safeguards for genetic research, advocating for transparency and accountability in scientific advancements. His experiences had transformed him, instilling a deeper understanding of the delicate balance between progress and ethical considerations. One evening, as the team gathered at their safe house to celebrate a significant milestone, the successful development and distribution of the antidote, Ethan looked around at his comrades. They had become more than just colleagues, they were a family bound by a shared mission and the trials they had endured together. "We did it," he said, raising a glass. "We've taken the first steps toward healing the world and preventing future disasters. But our work isn't done. We need to stay vigilant and continue advocating for responsible scientific practices." Maya smiled, her eyes shining with pride. "We've made a difference, Ethan. And we'll keep making it, no matter what comes our way." Jake clinked his glass against Ethan's. "To the spider web era, may it be remembered as a lesson in humility and the importance of ethical responsibility." Lila added, "And to the team that stood together to fight for what's right." As they toasted to their achievements and the road ahead, Ethan felt a sense of fulfillment and hope. The journey had been arduous, filled with challenges and sacrifices, but it had also forged unbreakable bonds and ignited a passion for safeguarding humanity's future. In the quiet moments that followed, Ethan gazed out the window, contemplating the changes that had reshaped the world. The spider web era had left its mark, a testament to both the potential and the perils of human ingenuity. But with resilience and unity, there was a path forward, one that embraced progress while honoring the ethical principles that define humanity. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the city, Ethan knew that their story was far from over. The battle against unchecked ambition and the quest for responsible innovation would continue, driven by the lessons learned and the unwavering determination of those who refused to let history repeat its darkest chapters. And so, as the team stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, The legacy of the spider web era began to transform from a cautionary tale into a beacon of hope or reminder that even in the face of adversity, humanity could rise above its flaws and strive for a better, more ethical future.